ॐ अज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनाशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपा कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकं। वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरोन् श्रीयुतपदकमलं श्रीगुरोन् वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सहगण रघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्री राधाकृष्णपादान् सहगण ललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितांश्च। हे कृष्णा करुणा सिन्धो दीनबन्धो जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिकान्त राधाकान्त नमोस्तुते। तप्तकाञ्चन गौराङ्गी राधे वृन्दावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये। वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपासिन्धुभ्यः च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधार श्रीवासादि गौरभक्तवृंद। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे. Quick, I mean, if you don't mind, I'll just quickly discuss the meaning of the prayers that we just did. So, Om Ajnana Timrandasya. Ajnana means we are filled with Ajnana. We don't have the proper knowledge. So, Ajnana Timrandasya Jnana Anjana Shalakaya Chakshuranmilitam Yena. So, the Guru gives us the Jnana Anjana. Guru gives us the knowledge to see through this world properly. So, that's why we start our prayers with the Guru Vandana. And then the other prayers is we are actually invocating Lalita Vishaka and all the Goswamis who gave us this scriptural knowledge. And then we also do Stotram He Krishna Karuna Sindhu. We are glorifying Lord Krishna. And then and the Stotram for Radharani, Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi, Radhe Vrindavaneshwari, Vrishabhanu Devi. Vrishabhanu is Maharaja Vrishabhanu. She's the father. He is the father of Radharani. Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi. She is a Tapta Kanchana means she is she looks like a molten gold. Radhe Vrindavaneshwari. She is the Vrindavaneshwari. She is the Ishwari of Vrindavan. She is the Lord of Vrindavan, Radharani. Vrishabhanu Devi, Pranamami Haripriya. We offer our obeisances to Radharani and Krishna. And then Vancha Kalpatarobhasya Kripa Sindhobhya Patitanam Pavanebhya Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Vaishnavas are like a desire fulfilling trees. They fulfill any desire. Vaishnavas are so great that they can fulfill any kind of desire. Any kind of desire means not our material desires. I mean, we have unlimited material desires, but ultimately connecting ourselves to Krishna and understanding our purpose of life, that is the ultimate truth and the purpose of our existence. So Vaishnavas are called Vancha Kalpatarobhasya. Kalpataro means Vaishnavas are equivalent to Kalpataro because they give us this knowledge. Kalpatarobhyasa Kripa Sindhobhya. Kripa Sindhobhya means they are ocean of mercy. They are ocean of mercy. Sindhu Kripa Sindhobhya. Patitanam Pavanebhyo. Patitanam Patita Pavana means one who is fallen. They uplift them. Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. We offer our obeisances to all the Vaishnavas. For example, Lord Shiva is the Vaishnavanam Yatashambho. He is the greatest of all the Vaishnavas. That's what Srimad Bhagavatam says. Vaishnavanam Yatashambho. And and Lord Shiva describes the qualities of Vaishnava just by his example. See, he gives the association to the most fallen people. Where does Shiva reside? He does not want riches. He doesn't care anything. Lord Shiva, he resides in the crematorium, where people are burned to ashes, where ghosts and goblins and the spirit souls, where they ghost means what? The soul that doesn't have body. They are searching for body because of their like suicidal or karmic activities. They don't have. They remain in subtle bodies only. They don't have. And Lord Shiva gives association to such kind of people. And they are the most fallen. And that's why Vaishnava, of all the Vaishnavas, Lord Shiva is the greatest Vaishnava. He gives association to the greatest, to the most fallen, Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavabhyo Namah. So he gives association to such people. So that is the qualities of Vaishnava. I mean, we can describe so many good qualities, this quality, that quality, but the qualities that the Vaishnavas carry, they are the ultimate. I mean, their qualities, their mode of goodness, they're actually beyond mode of goodness. They're in the mode of pure goodness. The qualities, the kindness, the mercy, they carry in their heart. They always carry Lord Vishnu in their heart. Wherever they go, wherever they are, that is the dham. That is the dham. So that's why Vaishnavas are so great. We have to humbly pray to the Vaishnavas and also try to take association of the Vaishnavas, and that way we can progress in our spiritual life. And then we also offer our prayers to Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaur Bhaktivinoda. 500 years ago, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu came to this earth in Mayapur. Mayapur Dham. He is actually incarnation of Lord Krishna and Radharani together. Actually, it is these details are understood only if we read Chaitanya Charitamrita. He wants to see the why Radharani is so much devoted to me. Krishna wants to experience the love of Radharani. So Krishna comes as Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Krishna is Krishna's form. His color is dark clouds, dark rain-bearing clouds is the color of Lord Krishna, and Radharani is molten gold. So Krishna comes as Radharani in the mood of Radharani. That is Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. He wants to experience why Radharani likes me so much. What is there in me that Radharani likes me so much? Why all the Ashtasakis and why everybody likes me so much in Vrindavan? Everybody is immersed in devotion to Krishna. They don't see Krishna as Bhagavan. Bhagavan means one who has 6 opulences. Aishwarya, Virasya, Samagraha, all the 6 opulences, like one who has the ultimate riches and wealth, fame, renunciation, all the six qualities in full. I mean, some of us have some qualities, like somebody who is rich are very famous, somebody who is very beautiful, they're very famous, somebody who is a renunciate, like a sannyasi, they are very famous. Somebody who has fame, they're very famous. So these are the 6 qualities. That anybody has little bit of those qualities, they become very famous and people are attracted to that. But Bhagavan, somebody who is called as Bhagavan means someone who is called as Bhagavan means who has those 6 qualities in full. So that is Bhagavan Sri Krishna. Why is everybody is so attracted to me? There's Radharani, especially Radharani. She's she's ultimate. The love, the devotion for Krishna. She's the ultimate when it comes to devotion for Krishna. And so when he sees Radharani, he gets I mean, why Radharani likes me so much? Why does she have so much devotion for me? And he wants to know that. That's why she comes in the form of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in the golden form. So we offer our obeisances to Sri Krishna Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and also his associate Nityananda, Gadadhar Pandit, Srivas Pandit. So his associates, and we offer obeisances to them before we study any or scriptures. So we will let me share the screen real quick. Stop. So what we discussed in last 6 classes, we'll just go through real quick. I mean, we actually covered so many topics. I don't know we'll be able to do everything in 1 hour. We'll try our best. So we started with the game of life. What is the game of life? This was just an introduction, basic understanding what is the difference between animal and humans, right? I'll try to skim through it. We'll go faster because it will take quite a bit of time if we go in detail. So everybody is looking for happiness. Everybody wants happiness from childhood. Every activity we do, even now, the activities we do, we want good education, good salary, good job, good wife, good handsome husband, good home, big bungalow, everything we want. For what is the reason we aspire for all these things? For happiness, in search of happiness, right? We are searching for happiness. and by various means, right from childhood, at different ages we find different things too that gives happiness. Like when a child will find happiness in balloon, a teenager will find happiness in opposite sex, and a mid-aged person like 30 years 40 years old, they find happiness in earning money, or creating a good family, bungalow and everything, cars and all. They find happiness in, when it comes to grandparents, they find happiness in grandchildren. So and there are some fashion icons, they find happiness in different kinds of things. They do so many things to find happiness. These are all in search of happiness. Some people do like daredevil activities and these kinds of things, like sports, and some people indulge in intoxication and parties and smoking and all these things in search of happiness. All these activities are in search of happiness, right? And some people find happiness in sleeping, eating, sleeping, mating and defending. So if we closely look our own life and look around ourselves, so all the activities ultimately boil down to these four things: eating, sleeping, mating and defending, right? From morning to evening, whatever activities we do ultimately boils down to these four activities. We The job we do, or the endeavors we go through is ultimately find some eating, to find some food to eat, and also to find some sleep. And nowadays finding a good sleep is also hard, okay? And mating in the sense is producing offsprings, and defending, we just fight with each other because of our egos. And ultimately these are the four things. So let us see how animals are different. Animals also likes to have friends, and they also like to have fun. They also have families. So animals also do these four things: eating, sleeping, mating and defending, right? In fact, the only difference is we eat in a nice expensive restaurant, fine dining, in a candlelight dinners and all, but they also eat some kind of food, right? And sleeping, we sleep on a very expensive $20,000 mattress, or expensive pillows and all, but they also ultimately the sleep, right? They also sleep, and we produce offsprings and they produce offsprings, and we defend and they also defend with their claws and teeth and all. So what is that it makes us different from animals? So what is the difference between humans and animals? This is the fundamental things that we have to question ourselves. If we are doing or indulging ourselves in the same activities that animals also indulge, and that is our ultimate goal: eating, mating, sleeping, defending is our ultimate goal. What is the purpose of life? Even animals also doing the same thing. What is the higher purpose of human life? These are the kind of questions that we have to ask, right? And if we quickly go through, in fact we are so proud and that we are better at certain things, but in fact animals are better at certain things, lot better than us. Eagles can see far away from in the sky, and they have better eyesight than us. And horses can run faster, dogs can produce like 12 babies at a time. Can we do that? An elephant can eat tons and tons of food. Polar bear can sleep for like 6 months, and cuckoo can sing so beautifully. So all these kind of activities, even animals can do better than humans. So what is so great about taking the birth of a human? So that these are the kind of um, So despite of all the modern advancements in search of happiness, still people are dissatisfied and full of anxiety and stressed and depressed. And above all, we are all always still searching for happiness, and we are always unhappy. We are not never satisfied. So that is a fact. This is true. We can see around us in our day-to-day life, and we'll come across these things, right? Is it not true? In news, we see every day almost some celebrity dying. Recently, there was some Korean celebrities committed suicide. So why? Yeah, I mean, they have everything. Literally speaking, they have money, they have fame, they have beauty. They have everything what they want. Still, they are committing suicide. They're not satisfied. They're not happy. They're unhappy. Why is that? Because even though you have all these material things, something is missing, right? So animals cannot inquire that kind of things. What is that missing thing? Whereas humans can inquire. So in fact, sometimes animals are better than us because they don't do drugs and suicides and riots and these kind of things. But human have to go through all these things, right? So what makes human beings superior to animals? This is the kind of questions that we have to ask. In Mahabharata, it is very nicely described. Ahar nidra bhayamaitunam cha samanya etat pashubhir naranam ahara nidra bhayamaitunam. Ahara means eating, sleeping, mating, and defending. So samanyam etat pashubir naranam. This is samanyam. This is the common between pashubir and naranam, means animals and humans. Dharmo hi tesham adhiko vishesho dharmena hina pashubhi samanaha. So if when human beings are deprived of dharma, then he is nothing more than a pashu. He is equal to animals. That is what our shastras are saying. So we will discuss what is dharma. So, so one of the main difference between animals and human beings is animals cannot inquire, whereas human beings can inquire about higher principles of life, death, and beyond life. Why am I taking this birth? Why am I suffering? Why am I going through this whole thing? Why do I die at the end of the? Why am I accumulating all these things at the end? I cannot take even a penny with me. So all these questions, all these inquiries that human can do, whereas animals cannot do, and make a right choices in life. Humans can make right choices in life, whereas animals, they live according to their instincts, based upon instincts. They also have reasoning, they also have intelligence, they have everything, but they live life based upon instincts, whereas humans have a higher way of living. So the purpose of this whole session is to ask those questions. Does God exist? Who am I? And is there a life after death though? And who is the supreme person? All these questions we can ask, whereas animals cannot ask. And we can we also discussed about difference between demoniac and demoniac qualities and the divine qualities. What are the divine qualities and what are the demonic qualities? Positive thinking, negative thinking, and we discussed all these things. So, and you might have all the money, but you're not happy. Whereas some people, they don't have anything, but they are very happy. And in Bhagavad Gita, it describes about the five senses: mind, intelligence, and the soul. We discussed about this, how we have to see like a soul. Around the soul, we have subtle body. Subtle body is made up of three things. One is intelligence, mind, and false ego. Subtle body is made up of false ego, intelligence, and mind. And around the subtle body is the gross body. Gross body is made up of five senses: ears, nose, tongue, skin, and eyes. So we have to strengthen our intelligence. We have to strengthen our intelligence, and using that intelligence, we control the reins of our mind, and using that controlled mind, we control our senses so that they won't get attracted to the sense objects and fly away in all different directions. That's what Bhagavad Gita teaches, and we discussed about this one. And how we have innate qualities, and we have how we have acquired qualities. For example, when the rain falls from the sky, rainwater is very pure. When it touches the ground, it becomes dirty, right? And how we have from birth, how from our previous karma, from our birth, we have some innate qualities in us, and we also have acquired qualities. Acquired qualities means as we grow up in the association of different people, we acquire different qualities. So we discussed about this thing, right? Some of the acquired qualities are like postponing, being depressed all the time. These are simple things, and serious things are like easily getting irritated, or inability in lacking loyalty, or scolding somebody always. These are all the acquired bad qualities. These are not the nature of the soul, but they acquire these things by coming in contact with this material world. So understanding these things, and so basically the point is we are understanding Sattva-guna, Rajoguna, and Tamoguna. All activities we do, we can do it in Sattva-guna, Rajoguna, and Tamoguna. We also discussed about what are those three qualities. So Nidra, Alasya, Pramada, these describe the ignorance, mode of ignorance. Nidra means people who oversleep, and because of oversleeping, we become lazy, and because of laziness, we fall into situation like a pramada, hopelessness, depression, madness, intoxicating, and these are all the qualities of ignorance. These are nicely described in Bhagavad Gita. And here it is compared to a fox, because fox does not initiate anything by itself. It steals somebody else's food and something like that. So that is the nature of a ignorant person. These are the qualities that we discussed about ignorance. And passion. Rajoguna. Rajoguna means Sangha Trishna. We always have the desire. Trishna. Trishna means we have the desire. We're over ambitious and pride, angry. Even food. Our day is divided into goodness, mode of passion, mode of ignorance. The early morning time is called goodness, and during the day it's full of activities, mode of passion. In the night, where we fall asleep, it is the mode of ignorance. So all these things, like even the food we eat is divided into mode of goodness. That is very clearly described in Bhagavad Gita. The juicy foods like ghee, fruits, nice milk, yogurt. These are all in the mode of goodness. Whereas mode of passionate is like something that gives you sweat, so much sourness, so much heat, so much spices. This is the mode of passion. And mode of goodness, mode of ignorance is like eating meat and dead bodies. These kind of things is in the mode of ignorance. That's what Bhagavad Gita, Krishna describes in Bhagavad Gita. Mode of goodness is sukham, jnanam, somebody who takes pleasure in living a life full of compassion, cleanliness, wisdom, forgiveness. These are all the qualities, simplicity. These are all the qualities of people who live in the mode of goodness. This is nicely described in Bhagavad Gita. So, for example, we see, right, people who are in mode of goodness. They say like Om Sarve Jana Sukinaha Sarve Santu Niramayah Sarve Bhadrani Pashyantu Ma Kaschid Dukkha Bhag Bhavet. So people who are in the mode of goodness, they like to they look for the welfare of others. That is in the mode of goodness. And they're very friendly, calm, and very tolerant. They're noble. They have the noble qualities and saintly qualities, compassion. These are all the mode of goodness. And it is described to a cow. It is compared to a cow, because cow is that like that, and it eats so simple food. It doesn't demand anything from its caretaker. All it eats just grass, but it gives so much nectar. It gives milk. It gives ghee, butter, and its whole life it serves everybody. Everything from cow, even the cow urine, cow dung, everything is useful for mankind. That is the in the mode of goodness. That's what is described. And we also discussed some of everybody has these qualities, tamasic qualities, sattva guna, rajoguna, and we have to find the common point. A noble leader with vision has assertiveness. They stand for the principles and values. Whereas a person who is in the Sattvaguna is an enlightened soul. Tamasic is a lawbreaker. Whereas a Rajasika is a commercial or a businessman who is in the mode of passion. I want to acquire more and more and more. So we have to find that common point. Such a person is a noble leader with vision. He is assertive and he stands for the principles. He doesn't compromise on the dharma and values. Such a person is a noble leader. We discussed about these things. And how we can boost our mode of goodness. ABCD formula, we discussed about the ABCD formula, association with the saintly people, and books, the books with which we associate, like Bhagavad Gita, Ramayana, Mahabharata, Bhagavad Purana. Books C, ABC, C is chanting and meditation, by chanting and meditation. And diet, like food in the mode of goodness, and offering to Krishna, patram pushpam phalam toyam yome bhaktya prayachati. So Krishna in Bhagavad Gita says, I accept the food. When you offer the food to me, I accept it, Krishna says. And that is food free from karma. That is a food free from karma. So we always have to offer food to Krishna before we eat. Like by doing and then ABCDE. E is the like engaging ourselves in a good activities in the service activities and activities that elevate ourselves, serving for ourselves and also everybody else. These are the ABCDE. If we engage ourselves in this ABCDE, we boost the mode of goodness. Or else if we choose the activities that boosts our passion and ignorance, we go lower and lower. Whereas if we choose the activities that boost our mode of goodness, we elevate our consciousness. That is very important. And we also discussed how mantra meditation keeps our mind in a relaxed zone. This was a research done by Harvard University, where when our brain waves are subjected to very high activity, high hyperactivity zone, where even people collapse and die. Whereas where if the brain waves are very in low state, you're always sleepy and drowsiness. But when we chant the mantras, it keeps our it's called alpha zone. It keeps our in a 13 cycles per second. It keeps in a relaxed state and it keeps in a mode of goodness. So that is the power of mantras. We will discuss that in detail again. And how we manage our time is also very important, because we only have 24 hours a day, and out of that we sleep and we cook and we eat food and we go to work almost 8 to 10 hours a day, and all the 24 hours is gone. And within no time, I mean, if we look back, we were a baby 30-40 years ago. Now we are already finished half of our lifetime. Within no time we'll finish the rest of our lifetime. And what did we do? Nothing. So our whole life is just the reason I said nothing, because we cannot take anything with us what we did for this whole life, right? Again, suppose if we take birth again we have to go through A, B, C, D, I, E, and then again we have to go through the degrees, and again we have to go through marriage, children. So this thing goes on and on and on and on. Like we also discussed what Prahlad Maharaj says in Srimad Bhagavatam. Punah punah charvita charvananam. We think Prahlad Maharaj describes very nicely in one simple sentence. So just like we chewing the chew, when we take a sugar cane, we chew on it. We think okay, we keep on, when we chew on it, there is some sweetness, and then we keep on chewing on it for lifetimes after lifetimes after lifetimes, doing exactly the same thing, nothing more or nothing less, doing the same thing. So managing our time is very, very important. If we there are some activities that we have to do, we are bound to do, those are our prescribed duties. We have to engage in those duties. For example, we, as a grihastha, we have a family. I mean, in a brahmachari ashram or a sannyasi ashram, that is their life is different. They also have prescribed duties. But as a grihastha, we have more activities to do. We have more things to do. We have children, we have family, we have wife, husband, we have to go to work, we have to. Grihastha, the prime duty of a grihastha is they have to support brahmachari ashram, vanapastha ashram, and sannyasi ashram. Only grihastha ashram, out of the 4 ashram, grihastha ashram is the only one who earns money. Every other ashram, they don't earn money. They don't have to earn money. They give the knowledge and they do this. They provide the services to the humankind, necessary services to the humankind. So grihastha ashram has more on their plate. So we have to manage our time very carefully, so we can use maximum amount of time in thinking, meditating on the Supreme Lord. That's why we have to plan properly and do our activities properly. Time management is also very important. We discussed this one also. Like about daydreamer, workaholic. Some people, they don't do anything, they dream all day. Some people are extremely workaholic, they spend all their time working. Some people they are poor at finishing work, but they are just friendly. So these are different natures of people. So we have to understand ourselves and how we manage our things. So we discussed all these things, time management. Some things are waste of time. We have to try to discard those things and use our time very efficiently. Important things we have to dedicate our time, and so that you have more time in your hand that you can use in the uplifting your consciousness in spiritual study, in scriptural study. So that is very important. Discussed Yeah, there are some important things like a personal life and professional life. They both give joy. Whereas relationships bring joy, and in professional life, results bring joy. We should have clear understanding with between those two. We cannot mix them up. If you try to aim for results in relationship, then you will not have any joy. Whereas you have try to find relationships in professional life, you will end up being unhappy. So you have to have clarity. So in relationships, bring joy, that is personal life. Whereas in the professional life, results bring joy. You cannot mix them up, and you have to balance them so carefully and nicely. That is how smart workers do. They prepare better, plan better, and take care of themselves betterly in a better way, and communicate personal development. These are all the people way of working smartly. So we also discussed like why billionaires wake up at 4 a.m. in the morning. We just discussed like a day is also divided into goodness, mode of goodness, passion, and ignorance. Morning time 4 a.m. around 4 a.m. Brahma Muhurta. It is the most peaceful time. Everything is so calm and pleasant. The whole cosmic energy is also very cooperative at that time. So at that time we have to wake up and do meditation. It is very important. Um, and so in our sessions, we are discussing about the soul. Just like a driver drives the car, the soul drives the body. So we have to understand the difference between the soul and the body. That is, we'll discuss in the next one. And we discussed about that, and about the supreme personality of Godhead. Who is the supreme? Who created this whole cosmic manifestation? Uh, and about the scriptures. What is the scriptures? What is Bhagavad Gita, Ramayana? Who gave all these things? And solutions. We come across so many problems. How spiritual solutions to material problems, karma, and we discussed about all these things. And sound vibrations. Sound vibrations, the power of mantra. What is a mantra? We discussed all those things, right? And we'll go to the next one. I'm going very fast. If you have any questions, please stop me. I'm just trying to cover as much as I can in 1 hour, so that we will revise all the topics we discussed so far, and then we can start the next one. So we discussed about discovering our inner self, right? Are we this body? Are we the soul? Are we this mind? What are we? Who are we? So we discussed about these things. These are some of the eternal truths that can never change. Yeah, so just like a driver drives the car, the soul drives the body, right? The body is dead matter, whereas the soul, chara, achara, we discussed about chara and achara, something that is living and something that is non-living. So a robot is a non-living, right? It doesn't have soul in it. So why should we study about this soul? So that's what Arjuna learned. uh, when Arjuna in the battlefield of Kurukshetra, he was totally distressed. I mean, seeing all his family members in front of him, and he's about to kill all. Arjuna is a very great personality. He's an incredible personality. He's a great warrior, and he knows that everybody is going to die in his hands, and nobody can stand his skill, and he know that he will kill everybody. That's why he was totally distressed, and he was totally in trembling, and he says to Krishna, why are we fighting? Why do you want me to fight? Why do you want me to kill my own kins members, like grandfather Bhishma and all my brothers, all the Kauravas, everything, my guru Dronacharya, Kripacharya, all these people? Why do you want me to kill them? Why do you want me to engage myself in this such a ghastly activity? And he drops his Gandiva bow, and he becomes extremely distressed. And Krishna speaks Bhagavad Gita. And when he hears Krishna speaking Bhagavad Gita, he regains his confidence, and his anxiety is gone, and he gains his morality, and he's free from stress, and he's no longer depressed. And then he becomes fully energized after hearing Bhagavad Gita, and he becomes victorious. So that is dharma. Dharma means, if you want to describe dharma in simple terms, I mean, you can give elaborate definitions of dharma. Dharma means very simple definition, simple understanding. Dharma means doing what Krishna says. That's it. Doing what God says is dharma. That's it. No buts and ifs, no commas, no full stops. Just doing what Krishna says is dharma. That's it. That is dharma. And when you follow dharma, when you preserve dharma, dharma will preserve you. When you protect dharma, dharma will protect you. So, and then he heard the knowledge of soul. Krishna gave Sankhya philosophy, and he spoke about Karma Yoga, he spoke about Bhakti Yoga, he spoke about Jnana Yoga, and he gave full knowledge, everything. Sankhya philosophy means is analytical study of a soul, soul and the body. What is the difference between the soul and the body? That is the analytical study of the soul and difference between the soul and body. That is Sankhya philosophy, and Krishna described that one also very nicely. And when he understood all those things, Arjuna regained his full strength. So, so now we have to understand these topics like, am I matter or am I spirit? Am I chara or achara? Achara means living and non-living. So we went through the scientific proofs of existence of soul, and we also found the difference between a living person and a dead matter like a robot. And we went through all those things. We discussed these things. And who are you? That was the first question we asked ourselves. And according to the material modern science, some professor described that we are just a 60-pound chemicals. So we have calcium, phosphate, sodium, iron, copper, all these chemicals. We are just chemicals. So are we really those chemicals? Really, is that true? Are we just a bunch of chemicals that you can put everything in a bag? Is that what we are? Is that all? So that is the question we have to ask. So if we are just chemicals, and what is our identity? Who are we? So we discussed those. We also discussed how we are, how like if suppose if we are just chemicals, how do we have these emotions? Emotions like when we see something, we feel like they are very beautiful. When we eat something, we feel like it is very tasty. When we touch something, it feels so soft and nice. Right? When we hear something, some nice music, we feel like it is so nice and pleasant. So a dead matter, if you are a bag of chemicals, you cannot, if you cannot experience all these things, right? So what are these things? What are these emotions like beauty? So is beauty permanent? For example, we discussed about this beautiful actor. Everybody is after her. She is such a very beautiful actor. But after she died, what happened to her beauty? It's all gone, right? So there is no feeling, no thinking, no desires, no movement, no consciousness. The dead body is just lying. So you have all the organs, you have still have all the chemicals, all the phosphates, all the calcium. You have the bones, calcium in it, and you have all the iron, minerals. Everything is still there in that body, dead body lying there. If you're just a bag of dead body, so what is that? So where are your feelings and where are you thinking? Where is all your desires you go through as a living being? So you are not just this body, you're not just this dead body, right? So even we also discussed how Shankaracharya describes when the soul leaves the body, even your own bharya bibhyati tasmin kaye. When Bhaja Govindam Mudamate. So when the soul leaves the body, even your own kinsman, your own wife, your own husband, he is also afraid of you. So till that time you're so loving with each other. But what happens when the soul leaves the body? They're scared of you. So these are the things that you have to look into. You have to understand when the soul is gone. So najayate mrite va kadachinnayam bhutva bhavitavana bhuyaha ajo nityah sashvatoyam purano na hanyate hanyamane sharire. In second chapter Bhagavad Gita, Krishna describes the qualities of soul. For the soul, there is neither birth nor death at any time. So you cannot moisten you cannot take a soul and drown it in water. You cannot put in a fire. You cannot cut into pieces. That is the nature of a soul. If you try to understand the difference between, this is all Sankhya philosophy, trying to understand the difference between the body and the soul, Atma, in a logical way. It's called Sankhya philosophy. It is nicely described in Bhagavad Gita to Arjuna in second chapter. So a body is just dead matter, whereas the soul is spirit. Body do not have consciousness, whereas a soul has consciousness. So the symptom of a living being is the presence of soul in the body is what makes it living. So the body comes from soul because the presence of the soul, the body grows. When the soul leaves the body, the body doesn't grow. Right? If you look at the tree, as long as the soul is inside the tree keeps growing and growing and growing. Once the living being in the tree leaves the tree doesn't grow. You can make wooden tables out of it. You can make chairs of it. Does a chair grow? Does a wooden table grow? So then it becomes dead matter. The presence of soul is what gives the growth. When the soul leaves the body, there is no more growth. There is no change in the body. So as long as a soul is present in the body changes. So that is also a very important thing you have to understand. So when you are a kid, you have the body. When you are grown up, you have a much bigger body. So something is changing. Doctors say, the scientists say, for after every 7 years, the body is changed. Every single cell in the body is completely changed, and you'll get a new body, right? So if everything is changing, then who are you? What is your identity? That the question you have to ask yourself. Atato Brahma Jigyasa. That is the first question you have to. Who am I? That is the question you have to ask. And body is temporary, whereas the soul is eternal. Body dies and soul never dies. This is the difference between body and soul. That's Krishna describes nicely in Bhagavad Gita. So, so when you have this understanding, there is soul in every living entity. So the material viewpoint of view is we are the bodies, we are made up of dead matter. We are no more than a chemicals. Everything is finished at the time of death. But the spiritual viewpoint from the Bhagavad Gita is we are not the material body just made up out of this flesh and bones. We are the spirit soul. We are engaged in this material body. So that understanding is necessary. When we die, the material body stops to function. Like we discussed, when the soul leaves the body doesn't function anymore. The body doesn't grow anymore. So just as the bird trapped in a cage, if you keep on polishing the cage and you don't feed the bird inside, the bird dies, right? What is the use of making your gold, making your cage with gold, nice shiny gold, but the bird inside is not fed properly and it dies. Similarly, the soul, if we keep on taking care of our body only, always we worry about taking care of our body only, then if we don't give, if we don't feed the soul, then the soul dies, right? So it is important to feed our soul more so than body. However much care you give to the body is ultimately going to die. Doesn't matter if you go to a most costly hospital or if you spend millions of dollars, no doctor can bring you back. No doctor can make you alive, right? Is it not true or not? So this is the fact that we have to understand. If we keep on brushing up our body only, if we keep on working to keep our working ourselves to keep on maintaining our body only, and we forget about the soul inside the body, that is putting ourselves into death actually, right? It's basically the body is made up of 5 elements: earth, water, fire, air, and ether. Earth is the flesh part. Water is the water part. 70% of our body is made up of water, right? Fire is the digestive juices inside, where it has the ability to whatever food we eat, it has the ability to burn that food and give energy. That is the fire inside. Air is we have different kinds of airs inside. So we use pranavayu, apana, and there are different kinds of vayu airs inside. Even we use our air to evacuate ourselves and all these things. And the empty space: earth, water, fire, and air and ether. These are all the things that our body is made up of. That's what we discussed. And we also discussed how our mind works, and scientific. Okay, let's see the scientific proof of the existence of soul. We also discussed from the scientific point of view whether the soul really exists or we just this body. So the common sense is when somebody dies, what we say, he passed away. So who is that who passed away? The body is still there. Somebody has passed away, right? So that is the common sense. So actually the soul has passed away. So the consciousness is the next thing. Like a dead camera can also see everything. It has a sensor, it reads, just like our eye sees everything, but it cannot experience pain and sufferings and happiness and distress and all these things. Whereas the presence of soul in this material body makes you experience all these things because it is conscious. And we also discussed about the near-death experience, how the how the soul leaves the body. When the soul leaves the body, how there are so many scientific studies, the near-death experience and how outer-body experience. We studied about Ian Stevenson's research, and there are so many scientific research and papers and books that you can go through actually on the near-death experience, where people experience they came out of the body and they have seen their body different from themselves, and again they were put back into the body. There are so many scientific studies also, you can go through those. And Ian Stevenson is one of the greatest researcher about the reincarnation. He has studied very carefully more than 3,000 cases, and he described very nicely, and we discussed those things also about reincarnation. And how phobias from past life come into this life. This is because of our reincarnation. Some people remember right from childhood, like somebody died because of drowning. In their next life, they as soon right from the childhood, they're so scared of water. Some people are so scared of sharp objects like knives. Some people are so scared of guns right from their childhood because they had some traumatic experiences in the past. And the subtle body, we discussed, right? Mind, false ego, and intelligence is the subtle body that covers the soul. So these carry those impressions and they bring back into the next life. And that these are all the kind of things that Dr. Ian Stevenson has researched. So we studied the scientific proofs how reincarnation is true. When the reincarnation is true, that means we are not this body, we are soul. The soul travels, the transmigrates from one body to another body. That is called reincarnation. That's what Krishna nicely describes in Bhagavad Gita. We'll like dehinosminyata dehe kaumaram yavvanam jara tata dehantara praptir dhiras tatrana muhyate. So as the soul passes from boyhood to youth to old age, similarly at the time of death, the soul leaves the body and moves on to another body. A sober person is not bewildered by such a change. That's what Krishna describes in Bhagavad Gita. And further study about reincarnation. So twins, they're both born at the same time, but they have two different souls in them. That's why they think differently, they act differently, they have different natures, they have different abilities, even though they are the same externally, but they have two different souls inside, even though they are genetically identical. That's what Ian Stevenson also has studied. And we studied we studied about one of the reincarnation stories from World War II. So we're not, and we also studied about one of the case study of Shukla Gupta, how she remembered her past life, how she in her next life, how she remembered her whole past life, and she told that I belong to so and so family, and how she described everything, and they all came. She actually showed the path to go to that home, and they all went to that home, and they described so many things. She described her previous life so nicely, and she talked about her mother-in-law, brother-in-law. She named the people and her husband, and she even went to the home, and in the attic there was a box. And she described there is a color of the saris in that box. She described all those things, and these were all very carefully documented by Dr. Ian Stevenson. And in one of this is one of the studies out of those 3,000 studies he has done. And so it is true. It is scientifically also it is proven that reincarnation is true. And Bhagavad Gita also described the same thing, about reincarnation, that you are not this body, you are the soul, and you transmigrate from one body to another body. Just like from childhood to youth to old age, what we do as a child, we ride a nice bicycle, and then we leave the bicycle and we get onto a motorbike, and we leave the motorbike and we get onto a car, and then we leave the car and we get onto an airplane. Similarly, the soul also leaves this body, body of a cat or body of a dog or body of a human being. So the soul transmigrates from one body to another body based upon its karma and its desires. And also greatest scientists like Benjamin Franklin, Socrates, they also identified the existence of a soul, and they are different from body. We studied about those things, and we also how we studied about a dead matter like a computer or a robot, how it doesn't experience any emotions, and how we experience a consciousness, and they don't have any consciousness, they cannot judge, whereas we can judge. These are the scientific way of studying that we are different. The soul, existence of soul is makes the living entity different from just dead matter, right? And we studied about things. See, for example, like a yeah, how the body changes. It has 6 changes. Body undergoes 6 changes, and they have a consciousness, thinking, feeling. So what are those 6 changes? As long as the soul is inside the body undergoes 6 changes. It takes birth, growth, maintenance, reproduction, and byproducts. Reproduction is giving rise to offsprings, and also we release the byproducts, right? And eventually we dwindle and we die. These are the 6 changes that happens in a human being. And when the soul leaves the body, all these things stops. The dead body is no longer can move, or no change can happen. As long as the soul is in the body, these 6 changes happen right from the boyhood to till the time of death. So this proves again that the existence of soul. Mechanism of mind, we studied about the mind, how our body is made up of. So you have the soul inside, and around the soul you have the gross body. The gross body is made up of mind, intelligence, and false ego, and around that is the you have the subtle body, and around that subtle body is a gross body made up of earth, water, fire, and air and ether. And important point here is, what is the nature of soul? Sat Chit Ananda. Sat Chit Ananda. Sat means eternity. Chit means knowledge. Ananda means bliss. So this is the nature of soul. Soul never dies. It is always eternal. It's part and parcel of Krishna. And knowledge, it is full of knowledge. Knowledge about what? Knowledge about Krishna. And blissful, and it is always blissful, is always happy. That's why the nature of the soul is always happy, because it is encaged, it is entrapped in this material body, and we are subjected to the 3 modes of material nature: goodness, passion, and ignorance. That is the reason we experience unhappiness and all these things. But the soul by nature is always blissful. That's why it's always in search of happiness, because that is the nature of the soul. But because we are entrapped in this material body, we go through all the distress and unhappiness and all these things. And we also discussed how the mechanism of mind, how the mind works. So the intelligence, mind, and false ego, these 3 things are the coverings of the subtle body. This covers the soul. So we have to strengthen our intelligence. The intelligence is the decision maker, and the mind is the storehouses of all the thoughts and the desires and everything. Mind is not in the brain. This is an important thing. Mind is in the region of heart, because the soul is in the region of heart. This is described in Shastras. It is not what this is not I am saying. This is described in Atma and Paramatma. Atma and Paramatma, just like the 2 parrots are sitting in a tree, one parrot is eating the fruit, whereas the other parrot is just watching the other parrot eating the fruit. So we are Atma, Jivatma, and the next to us is the Paramatma, and the size of the soul is also described in Shastras. It is I don't remember the verse exactly. It is Shatabhaga. I think it is. The essence of that verse is, you take the hair and you take the tip of the hair, you cut it into 100 pieces, and you take 1 piece and you further cut it into 100 pieces, and 1/10,000 of the tip of the hair is the size of the soul. That is described in Shastras. Whereas the Paramatma is in the size of a thumb, right? Paramatma and Atma and Paramatma are in the region of the heart. So the mind is also in the region of the heart. Intelligence, mind is in the region of the heart, because it's a subtle body that covers the soul. Okay, so intelligence is the buddhi. Intelligence means buddhi. It is the decision maker. If you give proper knowledge, if you strengthen your intelligence, it makes the proper decisions, right? And intelligence gives the directions to mind, and mind controls the five senses. Five senses is ears, nose, tongue, skin, eyes. So these are the five senses that interact with the world, that interacts with the sense objects. Sense objects means everything that we see is a sense objects, or everything that we feel. The objects that interact with our senses is called the sense objects, right? And this is how it is very nicely described in Bhagavad Gita. These five senses are compared to five horses, and the mind is the reins, and the intelligence is the buddhi, and then is the chariot driver, and the soul is the person who sits on the chariot. Suppose if the intelligence is not strong and it cannot control the mind and it cannot control the senses, all the five horses goes in five different directions, and the chariot will fall down, and ultimately the soul sitting in the chariot will fall down. So it is described in Shastras, in Bhagavad Gita, that we have to strengthen the intelligence, and using the intelligence we control the mind and we control the sense objects, so that the horses, all five horses, goes in the proper direction, and the chariot also travels in a proper way, so that the we travel in a proper way. Bandhuratmatmanastasya yenatmaivatmanachitah anatmanastu satrutve vartetatvaiva shatruvat. It says Bandhuratmatmanastasya means for one who has conquered the mind is the best of the friends. But for one who has failed to do so, his mind will remain the greatest enemy. So the controlling the mind is the most important thing. And how do we control the mind? By strengthening our intelligence. And we'll also, so we discussed about the controlled mind versus uncontrolled mind. It will be your best friend, and it will be your worst enemy. Just like a knife. A knife is a good or bad. If you use it in a good purpose in the hands of a doctor, it can save the life. But in the hands of a criminal, it can kill a life. So a knife is neither good or not the bad. Similarly, our mind needs to be controlled by proper intelligence. So then the mind becomes your best friend, or it becomes your worst enemy. So we also discussed about the GIGO principle. GIGO is garbage in, garbage out. If you put garbage in, the garbage comes out. If you put good in, good comes out. So how do we put give ourselves good? We discussed like A, B, C, D, E. For example, reading scriptures versus watching all kinds of nonsense movies, hearing to spiritual topics and learning about the purpose of life and hearing about Krishna. That is something putting good thing in you, or hearing all kinds of nonsense, gossips and negative things, something that makes you fearful or something that makes you anxiety. The hearing those things, sound is very powerful. What we hear is disturbs you so much. So what we put in, what we put out. So how do we and different activities, if we control our mind properly with the proper intelligence, then it tells you what is good and what is bad. If uncontrolled mind thinks it is smoking is cool, even though it's burning you inside, right? That is uncontrolled mind, because mind is not properly guided by the proper intelligence. Whereas you know that, right? Smoking is bad, but people think the smoking is so cool. So when they're burning their own lungs inside, but they still think it is a cool thing, right? Because they don't have proper intelligence. This is just an example. When you have proper intelligence, then you know, using that intelligence, you use your mind to know that no, smoking is not cool. It actually is burning yourself. So you know that. So that is how strengthening your intelligence and using that intelligence, controlling the mind. That's what it means. And what are the practical benefits when you have this understanding that you're not the soul, you're the soul and you're not the body? There is no division between human beings and animals and anything. There is no division between white or black. There is no division between rich or poor, because every living entity is a part and parcel of Krishna. Then you don't see any difference. Right? There will be universal brotherhood, and there is no difference between I'm educated, you're illiterate, Such things I'm beautiful, you're ugly, such things doesn't happen because the body is temporary anyway. It's going to dwindle anyway. So when you understand that you are the soul, you don't bother by these external differences, and you will have a universal brotherhood, and you can be happy together. While living in this world, you'll be happy, and you'll be free from all those inferiority complexes like that. I don't look beautiful, my friend looks so beautiful, I want to be beautiful, I want to get plastic surgery, this surgery, that surgery, these kind of things. These are all unnecessary things. No matter what you do, your body is going to perish. So if you have this understanding, you will live a conscious life, living a conscious life instead of a unconscious life. And your attitude towards the whole thing changes because you have a better understanding that no matter what you do, your body is going to have difficulties, because dukkale mashashrutam. Krishna says in this material world, dukkale mashashrutam. To this body, there is going to be always some kind of a dukkalayam. This is we live in that kind of situation. When you have that understanding, your whole attitude towards life changes. You will not get fall prey to the depression and anxiety, and all these things will go away. This is the practical benefit, and you will use the resources in a rightful way. You don't waste anything. You will take care of every living entity nicely, and you don't differentiate between that I'm the top of the food chain, or they're the bottom of the food chain. When you see the spirit soul, which is part and parcel of Krishna in every living entity, you don't really discriminate. That is a real solution. You have United States, United Nations, you have United Nations to remove all kinds of wars, to create peace across the globe, across all the countries. But did it really help? No. In fact, we can see in our day-to-day life, there is a war between Ukraine and Russia, war between Israel and Palestine. There is war between India and Pakistan, there is China, and all these things. They have always some kind of things going on always, because they don't have this understanding. What is the use of United Nations? To unite every nation, but did it really achieve the purpose since it was created? When you don't have the fundamental concept that you're not the body, you're the soul, and the soul is every living entity is part and parcel of Krishna. When you don't have that understanding, it doesn't matter how many organizations you create, how many United Nations you cannot create peace, and you cannot create universal brotherhood. But when you have the knowledge that is described in Bhagavad Gita, there is universal brotherhood. Discuss that one. We'll go to the next one. Sir, am I taking too much time? It is 4:30 already. Can we continue?
It's 4:40 already.
So shall we stop here?
Should we? Is it? There seems to be still lot, right? So.
Yeah, we have a lot to cover actually.
So Guruji,
I have to.
Yes.
Drop
If you have
off.
any questions, okay. We will continue this recap next week, if that's okay.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, Guruji. Next week. No,
Okay.
next week I'm actually working. I'm working in the afternoon. I'll talk to you later. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Thank you.
Okay. Hare Krishna. Thank you.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you. Bye. Bye.